and your job title that you're looking for. This will help keep you top of mind when you make a post in the comments. Additionally, if you do not want to be on camera, you can turn your video off. If you do not want your name to appear, you can use those same rename options to change your name to a period or an asterisk or an emoji. That will keep you anonymous and not on camera. So those are your options. If you're going to be visible, smile, be ready, be energetic, and show your name. If you're not going to show your name, that's fine. Turn your camera off, change your name to a period or something else so that it is not visible on the YouTube stream. Brenda? And currently you're
There we
muted.
go.
Oh, you're not.
I got it. Yeah, I was muted because I coughed. We were talking about that in the pre-show, Christopher and I, how the beauty of these Zoom is nowadays we can mute ourselves when we have to cough or sneeze or when we're eating or drinking or things like that we don't want to see ourselves on camera for. All right, well, good morning and welcome, everybody. It is Friday again. I am delighted to see all of you. I know you might not be delighted to see me because that means you are still not back to work. But the goal for these groups is to get everyone back to work. And in the meantime, we are here to provide you with a safe oasis, a haven, if you will, a place that you can come and be a part of a team. Because we are all part of a team once, right? You're working for a company, getting a paycheck, part of a team, doing the work, doing your weekly huddle calls and your meetings and everything. And, you know, making sacrifices too. Let's call it like it is, right? We were working late and, you know, sometimes giving up on vacation and checking emails and stuff while we were with our family at home or on vacation. And then one day you got that awkward phone call from HR or tap on the shoulder to come into a conference room or an email or a text message or something. And then that conversation where they used very fancy corporate sounding words that said that your position was being eliminated and you were no longer going to be a part of the team. And depending on when that happened, pre-pandemic, you may have been walked back to your desk like a criminal. Anybody gone through that? You know what I'm talking about. They give you a cardboard box to put all of your personal worldly possessions in, and then they escort you out of the building. 30 minutes ago, you were working on a project to help the company, and now you're being escorted out of the building. I don't understand that, but that happened. Or, you know, some of you may have been told, you know, may have chosen to leave the building and they packed up your things for you and sent them to you later. Very awkward, the whole thing. If it was during the pandemic, you know, it may have been after we're off of this phone call, your computer is going to be disabled. So you're not going to be able to log into your email, your drive, or anything else anymore, which astounds me because, you know, we live a lot of our life at work. And you may have had some personal photos or items that you want to keep track of, or maybe even examples of project work, nothing confidential or proprietary, of course, but things that you want to keep example of in your portfolio, because as you're interviewing with other companies, you can demonstrate, here's the type of work that I did. And when they lock you out of your computer, you can't get into that. And then you're relying upon reaching out to coworkers who were your team members. Remember those people? The people that you were all rowing together on the boat with. We're all helping each other out until the day that you were let go from the organization. And then the parting of the seas occurred. There was the people who reached out to you immediately. Oh gosh, Valerie, what happened to you? I can't believe this. How can I help you? And then
I wish, Brenda, I wish they did. They didn't.
Well, but then there were the other, let me keep going, because then there were the other people on the other part of the sea that never reached out to you, never even acknowledged it. Yesterday, we were helping each other. We were working crazy hours and weekends and holidays, getting projects done, and then you turn your back on me. And it's very interesting how that happens. And I think a little bit of survivor's guilt, a little bit of it is, you know, they're trying to align themselves with the organization so they don't lose their job too. And sometimes it's fear, and, you know, other times it's, well, our friendship, I'm using air quotes right now, was only based on my employment, right? At any rate, that team is no longer exists. I like to say I miss working with the team, and I love having these phone calls because we are now part of your team. And we invite you to come on these calls every Friday until you are back to work. And I just want to take a moment to say good morning and to welcome all of you. I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that you're here with us today. And I noticed you and I see you on the phone call. For those of you who have camera on, I want to say good morning and hi to you real quick. Good morning to Christopher, who is helping me co-host today. Good morning to Katie, Valerie. Mindy, are you able to help us with Q&A today? I'm going to make you a co-host as well. Jude, I believe did I make you a co-host yet? No, not yet. Jude, are you able to help me with questions today? Jude is shaking her head. Good morning to Dean. Sue, I believe I've already made you a co-host. You are all set. Good morning to Jeff, Brad, Joan, Moss, Nancy, Lisa. Kenneth Lang is with us here today too. Kenneth, can I make you a co-host? Is that okay? You're coughing a little bit. Kenneth and I are both recovering. And then good morning to Becky as well. And I see there are a bunch of other folks who are not camera on, and I just want to say hi quickly to a few of those. Let's see here. Cindy, Julia, got a couple Jeffs, got 3 Jeffs on the call with us today. We've got a couple Jones, we've got a couple Nancy's, Retha, and a Vic on the call with us. So good morning and welcome to all of you. I am delighted that you have chosen to spend the time with us today. I want to remind you though, that someday you will not be on these Friday calls because this is temporary. This will not be forever. This is just now. This is a blip in your history. Okay. So enjoy it while you can, because someday you're going to be back to work and you're going to miss these calls on the Friday. But the goal is to get you back to work. That's why we hold these calls, to provide you a community and a place to come to so that you feel that you are a part of a community. It can be very isolating when you are in career transition. It's a roller coaster of emotions for sure. And it's almost like the stages of grief. And if you guys know what they are, go and chat and tell me what they are. I can't remember, but there's like the anger and acceptance and denial and disbelief. And you roll it right on this roller coaster of emotions when you're in career transition as well. And you really are grieving the loss of a job, the loss of your career. And for some of us, we kind of feel like it's our identity because that's all that we have known. And there's maybe people on the call that have worked for the same employer for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I feel you. Oh, I feel you. And they did this to you, and you deserve better. And you will move on from this. You will move forward. You'll always have that as a part of you, but that's going to help to thrust you forward and to be a better person and to be a different type of person moving forward. So I want you to take all of the things from your past, the negative, push them away, and remember that even though you can't choose what happens to you, you can choose what you do today and what you do tomorrow. And you can choose your mindset, and you can choose to create a community of wonderful people like I have here in the group to connect with and to move forward and to learn from this experience. Okay. So with that said, I want to introduce my fabulous team of helpers and strategists that are going to be coordinating the call with me here today. While they are introducing themselves, I want all of you to go into chat right now and introduce yourself. And I'm going to type in what I want you to type in for yourself. I want you to tell us. You don't need to say your name because Zoom already says Brenda Meller to everyone. Okay? You don't need to say your name. But what I do want you to tell us is your targeted job title. So tell us maybe 1 or 2 job titles that you are looking for. Tell us your targeted geographic area. Where in the world are you located? Where do you want to work? Tell us that. Even if it's a remote position, tell us where you are based. Okay. And then please do include your LinkedIn URL. Make sure that you include the full address, including that HTTPS, because then when we're inside Zoom in here, we can click on it and we can go and invite you to connect. And I encourage you to connect with each other. If you're not connected with each other yet, please do so. Mention that you are on Brenda's Friday call or Brenda's VIP job seeker call, something like that, so that the person is reminded where they met you from. And while you are all doing that, I'm going to start to go through introductions for my co-host crew, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves. Christopher Johnson, why don't you start if you could, sir, and then we'll go on to Sue next.
Well, thank you very much. Christopher Johnson, located in metropolitan Detroit. I help people put on virtual events, things like Zoom or webinars and or live streams. And I am thrilled to be here and happy to help. So up next will be Sue Griffey.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here, and this week I'm actually able to talk. I'm traveling right now, helping some family But what I want to say is, even though I don't have pom-poms with me today, I am the mentor with pom-poms. I try to cheerlead for all of us. I work with a global mentoring practice, and as I joined this, thanks to Brenda 2 years ago, to learn more about the U.S. Workforce situation, what I realized is how many of us, even in the U.S., are working in global teams and global settings. So I'm trying to bring that information both ways. Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. And Jude, would you introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Jude Gull, and I'm a resume writer, job search strategist located here in the greater Windsor, Detroit metropolitan area. And I love helping people find the work that is meaningful and enjoyable for them. I'm one of those nerds that loves to write resumes and cover letters, help people with their interviews. And my superpower, I think, is to get people to see things about themselves that they perhaps have forgotten or not really identified as something that is a wonderful skill that employers are looking for. So my goal in every consultation that I have with a client is for that client to leave with a big smile on their face and realize how wonderful they are. Thanks.
Thank you, Jude. And up next to introduce themselves is Mindy. And after Mindy, Kenneth Lang.
Hello, all. Good morning. Happy Friday. I am so happy to be here with you guys. You know, when Brenda was talking about what it felt like when we were part of a job and had a community, it so resonated with me so strongly because that was my life. I was in a corporate HR for a bank for many, many, many years. And when I got the, you know, pack your bags message after an acquisition, it was kind of shocking to me. So I've spent the last 9 years helping people who are looking for jobs, whatever that takes, whether it be a resume or it's finding those hidden jobs. I think Jude mentioned a superpower. If I have a superpower, it's helping people understand how to find hidden jobs because they're not all out there on the job boards. And that's something that everyone needs to understand. And in doing that, I found wonderful communities to be part of. Brenda's, of course, is one. And I host a group, a private group on LinkedIn called the Accelerators, because we hope to accelerate your careers. And those accelerators, we have a monthly call. We don't do it every week, but we do it every month. And coming up in September, I'm thrilled to let you know that the brilliant Brenda Meller will be presenting at our accelerator call. That's September 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you want to join, there's still room to register. And I'm happy to put the link into the chat. Please join us, and you know, love to help anyone who's on this call. Thanks.
Thank you. And Kenneth Lang.
Hi, everyone. Kenneth Lang here from Northern New Jersey. I love to support everyone here in this group. I can speak from personal experience. I know what it's like to be going to your desk and being told 15 minutes later you're out the door, not even have a chance to actually get that cup of coffee. And so I totally get it. I focus pretty much on 45 and older job seekers. It's something I can relate to from a personal background. I do an event Tuesdays from 1 to 2. Brenda is going to be one of my special guests on August 30th. I love to connect with people. I would just say when you connect, just ask me how I can specifically help you, because I think that's one of the challenges that a lot of job seekers have. We all want to help, but we need to know how we can help. So thank you very much. Looking forward to today, and have a great day, everyone. Thanks a lot, Christopher and Brenda.
Thank you all. And a reminder to be sure and download the chat so that you can avail yourself of the resources placed there, whether it is a link to somebody you want to connect with. And when you do connect, make sure you personalize the invite or any other information that is shared in the chat. Additionally, the transcription is on. So if someone says something brilliant, i.e., Brenda says something brilliant, you can copy that information down and use it later, refer to it later. The transcription can be found if you click on the more and enable, or live transcription is already enabled, so you can view the full transcript and then download it. And you can click on the chat. The 3 buttons on the right-hand side at the bottom will allow you to save the chat. And now back to you, Brenda.
It feels like this whole thing is like really well produced and scripted, doesn't it? Like everything was like pre-planned. We've got a run of show. Christopher's our producer and host. It's not like that at all, you guys. We've just been doing this for so many weeks in a row. We have such a great flow to this. So I want to see if there's anybody who is new with us this week. If you are new, could you just go in chat and just type in the word new right now? If you're available to introduce yourself, I'd love to ask you to do so, but that's optional. If you don't want to introduce yourself, that's okay. But I'm just curious if there's anybody who's new joining us for the first time. So I see Sandra Wise is joining us for the first time. Sandra, are you able to unmute yourself? Would you feel comfortable unmuting yourself and introducing yourself to the group? And tell us how you found us, if you don't mind. I'll give you a second to see if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So I'm new to this. And apparently this is really new to me because I'm not liking this very much. So, but that's okay. It's I'm getting used to. I was referred here to you guys by Valerie Ryan, which I'm very appreciative. I am looking for a human services related position because I am a college graduate from Mission College with 2 certificates in human services.
Wonderful. And Sandra, I see your LinkedIn profile in the chat. I know your video's not on, but would it be okay with you if I pulled your profile up on screen? Because I have a tip for you.
That's perfectly all right.
Okay, so let me just go to LinkedIn because for some reason my windows are opening in another tab and I'm just going to navigate to your profile instead. And I'm going to type in Sandra Wise in the panel here. Remote Human Services Certificate. Is that you, the first one?
That's me.
Okay, so first thing, Sandra, do you notice how we can't see your photo? It's like a gray avatar.
Oh no, I thought.
Do you have a photo on your account?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, and this is actually good. And in my call, by the way, none of us make mistakes. We all will have learning experiences, myself included. I will have learning experiences as well. And when I have one, I'm going to explain what happened. And when I see any of you having a learning experience, I'm going to help to walk through and give you some ways of working through those issues. So
Okay.
I notice right away, Sandra, when I go to your account, I don't see your photo. So I'm going to go to my account right now because I can't go in your account. I'm going to go to my account and I'm going to show you how to modify that to make it public. Okay, so in your profile, in your view, Sandra, in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a link that says edit public profile and URL. And by the way, this is in the desktop version of LinkedIn. So
Okay.
in your profile, upper right-hand corner, you're going to see a link that says edit public profile and URL. You're going to click on that. And while this is loading, Sandra, I'll remind you and everyone else, this is being recorded and broadcast to YouTube. So if you want to watch this again later to go through and make adjustments, you can do so. If you want to follow around right now, that's fine too.
Wonderful.
Okay. In the right-hand column, we're looking for your photo visibility settings. So see at the top, it says edit your custom URL. We're going to come back to that in a second. Underneath profile photo, you want to make sure that that is set to, I would recommend public.
Okay.
My guess is you have it set right now to your network or perhaps some other variation. Now you notice on my profile right now, I in the left-hand side of the page, you can see my headshot photo.
Yes.
If I were to change it to your network, give it a second. See what just happened here, Sandra? My photo
Right.
was grayed out. So what this means, this is my public profile settings. And this is what shows to people that are not connected to me on LinkedIn, or it's pulling from Google or other places. It's the public profile settings. So if I have it set to your network, that is only people who are 3-degree connections away. It's not public. Okay.
Okay.
If I change it to public, watch what happens. Give it a second to refresh. Now you can see my photo.
Oh,
in on it.
wow.
Okay. So there's your first tip. The other thing I noticed when you put your URL into chat, Sandra, at the end of your web address, it says it's linkedin.com/in/Sandra-Wise-5600 AA lowercase 753. That's a bunch
Not
of
sure what
gobbledygook.
that is.
Yeah, so that was set up by LinkedIn. I
Okay.
don't know why they put alphanumeric nonsense at the end, but I want to show how you would correct that. And I want to show you how to simplify your URL. Here's how you simplify your URL. You're in that same page that edit my public profile.
Okay.
So remember again how we got there. We were on our profile. In the upper right-hand corner, we clicked on edit public profile and URL, and it took us to this other page.
Yes.
In the very top, where it says edit your custom URL. Okay. Next to your URL, you're going to see a little blue pencil icon. If you click on that, the only thing we can modify is the text that's in the block at the very end. We can't do linkedin.com. We can't modify all of that. So what I would recommend that you do, Sandra, is try first name, last name, omit the dash in between your first and last name, and omit all the gobbledygook at the end of it.
Okay.
Click on save. As long as there's nobody else on LinkedIn who is Sandra Wise using it, it will say success. We've updated your URL, and it'll take like 48 hours for Google to catch up with it. It might say, sorry, this URL is not available. That's because somebody else is called Sandra Wise and is using it on LinkedIn. Now, if that's the case, you might want to do Sandra-Wise-CA for California,
Okay.
or Sandra-Wise-Health Services or Human Services or some other keyword in there, or you could put a middle
Okay.
initial or something in there. At any rate, though, I would recommend that you get that simplified as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Especially if you're sending out resumes, because you want to put that LinkedIn URL at the top of your resume.
Okay.
And it's easier to type in. It also helps you to come up in more Google search results with
Oh.
that simplified URL. And it also, kind of the third and smaller item is it shows that you're not a LinkedIn newbie. Like, you know what to do. You know how to modify your URL.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the picture that you see on this Zoom call is the picture that's actually on my profile.
Okay, wonderful. And while I'm on your profile, I'm going to show you how I'm going to personalize an invitation and connect with you.
Okay.
On Sandra's profile, I can see the blue connect button. So that's what I'm going to click on. If you happen to be on a profile that you see follow instead of connect, I want to remind everyone follow is a one-way action. When you follow, you can't message the person. You can't see their contact info. So I always prefer to connect with them instead. If you cannot see connect, you're going to click on the more button and you'll see an option that will say invite or connect with the person. In this case, I see connect. I'm going to click on it. And then it says add a note or send. And it looks like LinkedIn wants you to click on send because that's blue. Actually, you should add a note because then you have some personalization in here before you send it to the person. And what I like to do is short and sweet. If I've met the person, I remind them where we met. And that's the case with you, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Thanks for being on today's Friday VIP job seeker office hours. And then I ask for the connection. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Brenda Meller.
Okay.
Send the invitation. And that way, when Sandra gets my invitation to connect, and we get a lot of these, and a lot of them are like blind invitations with no context to them. If you include some type of invitation text, similar to what Ross did in here, then I can see the context and then I can make a decision about whether or not I want to connect with him.
Okay.
So Sandra, thank you for being on the call and giving me the opportunity to explain those techniques to you. Was that helpful for you?
Yes, it was.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Let's see. We're going to get started here with success stories and Q&A. So if anyone has a success story, I want you to go in chat right now and type the word success in all caps, SUCCESS. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee. A success could be I got a job and we want to hear about that. It could be I'm negotiating. I got a job offer, right? It could be I'm interviewing. I'm second round interview, third round interview, or a recruiter called me. Anything that you deem to be a success towards finding a job, we want to hear about it. I will call on you. We'll ask you to talk about what the success is, and we're going to say, what did you learn from it? So you can help to educate others on the call. Okay. I'm also going to ask if anyone has any questions related to your job search. And keep in mind here, we've got some LinkedIn experts on the call that can help you out. We've got some career coaches and career strategists on the call that can help you out. So whether it's a question about interviewing, salary negotiation, resumes, ATS, anything, you're stuck in the job search and you don't know where to start. Any questions you have, I want you to type the word question in all caps, followed by the question. So question, how do I get my job search started, for example? So I want you to type the full question out. The reason being, if we don't get through all of your questions today, there may be people on the call who can reach out and help you.
Okay. I see that we have Lisa has a success for us. Lisa, can you unmute yourself and tell us what the success is?
Last week, I asked about applying for a job that was lower pay than I would like. I had the interview, which was awesome. She held up my resume because I had asked her, what made you decide on having me apply for this job? Because I had initially applied for another one and they said, apply for this other one that we have open. She held up my resume like this. She's like, this is awesome. And that was really kind of cool. It made me feel good. I had a great interview and I don't know, we're going to see what happens. I'll know something today and then we'll see.
Awesome. So anything you want to share with us about that process in terms of finding the interview or anything that you've learned along the way that could help other job seekers?
So I sent out a resume for a position. They said that they filled it internally, applied for this other position. I wasn't sure because the money wasn't what I really wanted, but everybody said apply. So I did, which was a great thing. The interview was a half an hour and we talked for an hour. It was like I was talking to my best friend. She liked what I had. I did a lot of research on the company first of all, and she didn't really, sometimes they'll say, hey, what do you know about the company? But she didn't ask me that. But when she was speaking, I said, well, I learned this and I learned this. And that I think that helped me too, is to really know who you're talking to. I tried to find her on LinkedIn and she wasn't there.
Okay.
But I think that's,
and sometimes nonprofits aren't, right? I mean, some people aren't.
Right.
Did you ask her, Lisa? Because I think I suggested last week, did you ask her what was it about my resume that caused you to reach out to me?
Yes, I did. And she went through my resume. She said, you've got a ton of volunteer experience, which before my about, which I changed. And that was because I can't remember who suggested that I do that, but I didn't really have all of that nonprofit stuff on there, which is what I'm going to now anyway. And putting that in there, making sure that I changed I changed a lot. I changed a lot. I changed a lot.
Yeah.
So I went through everything and worked on it for a couple of days. And I think that helps when they're looking for me too.
Wonderful. Great job. And thank you for sharing that. I feel like you're on the right path now, Lisa. You're moving directionally where you need to go. I'm sure that was confidence building for you too, when you asked her what was it about the resume, right?
Yes. I mean, she couldn't stop talking about my resume.
That's great. I am excited for you.
I know. It was very exciting. Even if I don't get this job, it's a great stop.
Yes.
And it's very cool. It made me feel good.
And you said too, you've got some rapport going with this person right now as well.
Yes.
Which is really, I mean, now you've opened the door and she might be in the back of her mind thinking, when could we fill Lisa into a spot that would be befitting of her qualifications and experience, and also at a salary level that we can afford to bring her on. Right. So she's,
and I have to, that's true. And I have to thank you, Brenda, for connecting me with a couple other people that are in nonprofit, didn't have anything for me at this time, but said other things are coming up and gave me some really good tips and hints and things to do moving forward. So I do appreciate that.
Oh, it's our pleasure, Lisa. Thank you so much. And we'll keep our fingers crossed for you on more opportunities coming your way, and let us know if you have other successes to share in weeks to come.
Thank you. I'm hoping to not see you again.
I know. And not in a bad way, right?
In a great way.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see who else. I saw a question coming in. Oh, actually, let's do Katie, I think came in first, and Becky. Okay, let's do Katie, Becky, and then Moss had a question. So Katie, you have a success. You got a verbal job offer for a position that was created for you on Wednesday. Wow. Katie, tell us what happened.
So I am cautiously optimistic. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I don't want to cause any kind of Harris on this, but it was somebody.
If you don't want to share, Katie, you don't have to. I don't
want
to.
No. I will, because who knows what's out there in the universe. It was just through a contact that I had at a staffing agency, and she put me in touch with her boss. And we've been talking over the past year. They wanted to get a consulting arm of the organization started, and I wasn't really thinking much of it. Like, it sounds promising when a salesy person talks to you, everything sounds great. And then
Yeah.
you don't hear anything. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I met with the person 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and then I didn't really hear back.
Okay.
But they basically proposed a full-time role. It's a contract consulting role, which is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
But I'm looking for full-time work. And they were basically proposing a full-time job for me to leave my current client,
Okay.
which I thought, I mean, super flattering.
Yeah, but you
I,
you don't want contract, which means there's a
yeah,
certain mandate. You
yeah.
want a
And somebody
full-time
who's,
ongoing, right?
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Somebody who's in HR myself, I want to see it in writing. It's not real until it's in writing.
Okay.
I want to see a job description. I want to see an offer letter. So I haven't seen any of that yet. And the offer was like the verbal conversation, I should say, was on Wednesday.
And
So
it
I'm,
sounds like this is a position created for you. So, I mean, the reality of the situation, depending on how large the organization is and how many levels of hierarchy and approval, they could have to go back to HR to draft something up, and then it has to go
yeah.
through legal and to management and to the
Mhm,
board or whatever. So it
mhm.
might be a little bit. Did you get any time frame from them when you can hear back from them?
Yes, they said maybe this week. And then I heard they are waiting for information from the client to make
Okay.
it more official.
Sure.
Because the bulk of the project holds on to when the client wants the individual to start.
Ah, okay.
Um,
So in the
and
meantime,
yeah.
Katie, I don't know if you've told them this, but just, reaffirming your enthusiasm for the position. If you don't hear back from them, they said you should hear from next week. If you don't hear back like Tuesday or Wednesday, I might recommend reaching out either through email or by phone and just reiterating your excitement and enthusiasm for the position, but letting them know that you are continuing with your job search
Mhm,
until
mhm.
you have made a decision. So, just kind of say full transparency. I am interested, but my goal is to find a full-time job. So I'm continuing to look at that as a path, but I'll wait to hear what you have. And if they don't have anything yet, when can I expect to hear something from you? And if they're saying it's looking more like the end of this week, you'll say, great. If I don't hear from you by next Monday or Tuesday, I'll reach out again. Or if anything changes with my job search and I decide to go into another direction, I'll let you know. How does that sound? And
Mhm.
you're kind of letting them know I'm not desperate, but I'm not gonna sit around and wait for you. But I am interested in this. But this isn't the only egg in your basket. You're gonna continue to look around for that. I hope you don't mind. I'm offering you a little bit of that advice. Is that okay, Katie?
Oh yeah, I've totally had this in my mind already because I've learned the hard way to not
Yes.
stop looking until I see something in writing.
And I want
You
to
know,
see if you don't mind. I'm going to pause, and I see some heads nodding from our strategist group here as well. I want to see Mindy, Jude, and Kenneth, if you have anything you'd like to add on to that advice for Katie in this process. Mindy, I'll let you go first if you want to add anything.
Sure, sure. So Katie, you know as well as I do that there is nothing definite until you have an offer. And frankly, I've even seen offer letters that were dismissed. Until you walk in the door that first day, I would say it's not a done deal. And so knowing that, it's best to keep all of your irons in the fire, so to speak. Always be looking, always be networking, and never stop. Actually, even after you get the job, you shouldn't be stopping any of that. But we always need to be prepared for the next step. You are your own advocate. You need to advocate for yourself, right? And so, yes, it sounds like a great opportunity. This is one more piece of your journey. And congratulations for getting this far. It sounds amazing. But there are a lot of elements here. If the client decides that this is not the right fit for them, it's not even going to be up to the staffing agency. It's up to, that they're their client, right? So, keep looking. I think it's fantastic. It's a great opportunity. And Brenda's advice was sound, continue following up for sure. Don't let them ghost you. So don't be afraid to go back. Like I would say at least every other week to say, hey, how's that job coming? I'm still super interested in it. Just want to make sure you know. Good
All
luck.
right. Thank you, Mindy. Jude, do you want to add any advice to Katie on this?
You know, I think you and Mindy have done a great job in providing advice to Katie, and I'll just reiterate, until that you've got that thing signed, sealed, and delivered, you definitely, you are the boss of you, and you have to watch out for you. So, you're number one.
Thank you, Jude. All right, Kenneth, anything to add?
Just a couple of things. First of all, keep track of the things that were successful for you this time, so you know if you have to do it again sooner rather than later, you know what works. And I don't know if you've connected with anyone on LinkedIn yet or not, but it might be another way to follow up is just to send a message there instead of an email, just to stay in touch. But I agree with everything else that's been said. There's not really much more that I can add except wishing you good luck.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much. Katie, was that helpful for you? All right, very good. I see your head nodding and saying yes on here. Oh, I would turn my video off again. I'll pull myself back on video. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Katie, and thank you for allowing us to bring you up on screen and share your story with us. Becky Amble, you're next on The Price is Right. Come on down, Becky. I think you have a success story. I think you said it was about your son's job search, if I'm not mistaken. Becky, what's going on with you?
Yeah, well, I can't remember if I shared this, so if I did, just tell me, hey, we already heard the story enough. Anyway, my son is 21, just turned 21, and he's had this dream of working for Apple. And so he applied for an internship, didn't get it, but they said, if you're interested in other jobs, check this box. So he did. They called him out of the blue, and he's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because he's always been one of those that said, Mom, should I go get this job? Da, 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 and been like, he could talk to us and say, get your head on straight, go for it. Anyway, then Apple comes, and it's been his dream. So he's all hyper and just a wreck. Well, the thing about the networking is there's a guy here that runs a networking group and job search group and all that kind of stuff. Well, I was calling him months ago and wanted to, just kind of see if I could get any more specific help from him. Anyway, it was one of the few times that I didn't have my phone call super organized, because I always make notes, what do I want to ask and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're sort of talking. This guy's name is Lonnie, and we're just chit-chatting. And I thought, I'm just going to let it go. So he's talking about his boys that are adults, like maybe in their 20s or 30s. And I remember one of them works at Google, one of them works at Apple. So we're just chit-chatting, kind of get to know each other. And it wasn't our first conversation. Anyway, so here comes my son wanting a job at Apple. I get in touch with Lonnie. I go, hey, doesn't one of your son work at Apple? Well, yes. Would he talk to my son? Oh, sure. So he's corporate, great resource. His wife actually works for Apple, and she works retail. And this job was for one of the retail stores here. There's 4 of them in our area. And so they were like phenomenal. And, that's where I just wanted to point out, sometimes with networking, you don't know where things are going to go. And I try to be, when I talk to people, what are you doing? What are you looking for? Here's what I do. Here, how can we help each other? That kind of stuff. And when I was talking to this guy, it was a little bit more free form, which almost made me anxious because I don't do a lot of that. And it turned out to be just this great connection that then could help my son. And then another one of my connections through one of my volunteer groups was phenomenal and spent countless hours with my son. So I just wanted to share that sometimes if you feel like you're maybe doing a little chit chat and you're going, oh, I need to get to the point, or we need to do, a good bottom line here, you don't know. And part of, I think, the value in networking too is when we at least sometimes take the time to get to know the person as a person.
You did. Great advice, Becky. Thank you so much. And I want to see if any of my strategy panel experts want to add any thoughts to that. If you do, go ahead and unmute yourself right now. I'll give you a second to do so. If not, I think we're going to keep us moving along. Okay, thank you. Oh, go ahead. Who was that?
Jude here. I really love your example, Becky, because a lot of times people think that, oh, if it's going to be my first connection that's going to help me. And a lot of times it isn't. A lot of times it's your second or third level connections that are going to be more helpful than your first level connections. So, take advantage of every opportunity that you have And, you know, if you're trying to find some information, ask your friends and family to ask their friends and family, because they have a huge network as well. And, you know, those people will be more likely to reach out and connect with you because they know your friends and family. So there's already that trust there, right? So, and I love that story. It's a brilliant story of networking. And so, yeah, keep on having those conversations with everyone and, you know, being really specific, which, you know, you were, right? So it's a great example.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jude. All right, we're going to keep this moving along here. Mas, you are next, sir. And I believe, Mas, you had a question for us, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to try to scroll back up and find that. But while we are doing so, Mas, could you refresh our memory? I'm not finding it. I'm so sorry, sir. What was your question?
Sure. I had a really good call with person I wanted to network with, and he volunteered to introduce me to some key contacts at some target companies, and that was great. And after the call, I sent a thank you letter and the agreed action items, and then got ghosted. I sent a follow up note. 2 weeks later, just asking if there was any update and things, and didn't know if there was any suggestions on creative ways to try to motivate someone to respond or take the agreed upon action without over inundating with emails and text messages and things.
Okay, gotcha. Great question. And thank you so much for asking this. I'm going to probably have my panel come in and join me and offer advice on you. So I want to ask you some clarifying questions first. You said this was a networking call with an individual. Is this somebody you know well, or is this the first time you met them on the call?
First time I met them.
Okay. Are you connected with them on LinkedIn?
They're still waiting. I'm still waiting for them to
Still
connect.
pending. Okay. Are they a really busy person? Do you know? I mean, did you get that impression from them? They're, not super active with LinkedIn, or do you
Yeah,
have any sense of that?
I mean, they're in a startup company, and they're
Okay.
the co-founder. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I've
yeah,
seen the-
startup co-founder, probably running around with like a chicken with their head cut off and things are on fire all the time and they're trying to build a business. So let's assume, Mas, that they really do want to help you because they took the time to do the networking call. Did they give you the names of people, or did they just say, I have some people and I'll be in touch?
They mentioned the companies, but not the names.
Nothing names. Okay. So, and the communication thread that you have with them right now, is you have an email with them, or is it a cell phone, or how are you communicating with them?
Email.
Okay. So since you have an email, let's assume they're busy. They want to help you. Okay. And let's assume the priorities of their business right now are such that this is low on their to-do list. They want to help you. It's just they can't even get lunch and run to the bathroom during the day right now because they're so busy running around. So let's assume they're busy. Let's try to, when you send an email, make it as brief as possible. Hi, John, I know you might be busy. Could you give me the names of those people? And I'll try reaching out to them on LinkedIn, and I'll mention that you suggested them, if that's okay with you. Try to keep it brief. Or if you feel comfortable doing so, you could do a LinkedIn message exchange with us. And I might say at that point, Mas, if you're not hearing back from them, if they gave you the name of the company, you could try to look up the company on LinkedIn and look for employees at the company and invite them to connect. If you don't know the names of the company, even, I would move on. This person was busy. Sounded like it was a great call. And maybe moving forward, the next time this happens on a call and someone says, I'll introduce you, that's great. I know you might be busy. Would you feel comfortable giving me their names, and I can initiate reaching out to them on LinkedIn, and I'll mention that you suggested them, like give them that as an option. And in this case, if you've already reached out, once and they haven't responded, I would give it like another week before reaching out again and like suggesting, could you tell me their names or the names of their companies? And I will take it upon myself. I know you're busy and I really appreciate any help you can provide. That's what I might suggest into that. I want to pull up the experts from the group here as well and see if Jude, Mindy, or Kenneth has anything. And you might even have conflicting advice, something different than what I've just said. That's totally fine too. Mindy, you're laughing, so I'm going to have you go first. Any advice for Mas on this?
Yes, absolutely. So Mas, you have a classic question because we are often ghosted by people and we never know really why, right? And it could happen with a recruiter, it could happen with someone you're trying to network with. There's so many different reasons. What I would suggest is that you try and get that person's attention with something that is not something that you're requesting of him or her. It's a gentleman, right? It's a gentleman. So rather, perhaps send them some information that might be worthwhile to that person. So instead of asking, you are giving. It's always easier to give. And so if you find an article, you said he's in a startup, maybe there's something that you are familiar with in that industry, share some information with them, that person, so that they see that you are not just a taker, but also a giver. And just start a conversation, and perhaps if he's not going to connect with you on LinkedIn, you can see what he's posting. Perhaps you can comment on some of his posts on LinkedIn if he is active on LinkedIn, or just use the email to go back and forth and try and get his attention with something else. Hey, I just saw this article. It's in that same industry that you're working in. Thought you might be of interest. You know,
Great,
another great way to start an email when someone has missed an email, and just kind of assume that everyone is generous of spirit. Just say, hey, you may have missed my former email. I know you're so busy, super busy. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but you may have missed my last email. Here's just something I wanted to share with you. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Jude, thank you so much, Manu, by the way. Jude, how about you? Do you have any advice to offer to Mas on the subject of networking?
I'm gonna just go a little bit further on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, if you go to that person's profile, I think you can see who he's connected with. Is that correct? Brenda, can you nod yes or no on that one? Yes?
Are you asking me or Mas? I'm sorry.
I'm asking you. So if I go to your profile, I can see who you're connected to, correct?
Yes and no. And I'm starting to say yes and no because LinkedIn is starting to change this. And Kenneth, have you noticed this too? Like sometimes we can see common connections and sometimes it says who the people are following.
Well, that's the thing. It's being rolled out so that it's just going to be followers, not connections as the default.
Oh.
But for most people, followers are connections. The average person, followers are connections. If you have creator mode, I have that set up. I'm sure, Kenneth, you have it set up as well. We have more followers than connections. We can only have 30,000 connections, but you can have an unlimited number of followers.
But what happens is this: if you're on creator mode, it will say that mutual followers that you have, not mutual connections.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I believe
Okay, so my point is that Mas, you could go to look at those followers and see, like, he's named some companies. So, you know, you could look at those people and see if anyone shows up in a company that person has specifically named. And that could be someone that you could start following on LinkedIn and reach out to connect after you comment on their post if they're commenting. It's just another route of perhaps trying to get the names of those people within those companies.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Jude. Let's see. Let me stop my share. Who is next? I think Kenneth, you're next, right? Yeah, we're going a little out of order here.
I got a question for you, Mas. Do you have the person's cell phone number when you connected?
No, we did a Zoom call. I just have the email.
Okay, because one of the things when you talk about a startup, think about how they communicate. Really quick, a lot of times I've been sending texts to people like that, but with an email, you want to make sure you get their attention with the subject line. Because I got to tell you, with all the emails I get, I just scroll through a lot of them and just delete a bunch of them. So forget about reading the email. You want to get their attention first, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, sometimes I'll use WhatsApp because there's sometimes pressure to respond because you can tell when somebody looks at your message.
Right. Sure. Definitely. Any way possible.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kenneth. And thank you, Mas, for bringing up the question. Was this helpful for you?
It was. Thanks.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. So let's kind of shift gears here. I'm going to go back to my gallery view here. And I think I did see a person or two asking for a profile review. We've got about 8 minutes left on the call here today. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top and see who it was that said profile review. Wouldn't it be great if we could search text? Christopher, there's not a way I can search the chat, is there, to find that?
Sadly, not yet.
Christopher, can you talk to the people at Zoom? Can you talk to like Mr. or Miss Zoom and say, can you flag messages? Give us the ability to flag messages or like to pin messages to the top. Cause then I could like find these really
Brenda,
quick.
it's Katie. I just
Yeah.
found it, Katie.
Do you know the people at Zoom? Oh, was it your profile review? Is that
Katie
you would
was
ask?
the profile review.
Ah, okay. Hey, Katie,
Oh,
thank you
yeah.
so much.
Thank you.
I was like, oh, you know someone at Zoom? Cool. All right, Katie, what's your last name?
Last name is Kelly, Kelly.
K-E-L-L-Y, Katie Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay, then you click
Under
on
the
enter.
term CP1.
You click on people. Which one is it?
I'm trying to scroll down, but I can't. It's on my screen. There I am with the orange.
Katie Kelly Sherm
HR consult,
CP.
yeah.
Is this you right here?
Yeah, that's me.
All right, perfect. Okay. So Katie, before I start giving you some feedback on your profile, I want to ask you if you could refresh our memory and tell us what is your targeted job title, targeted geographic area, if you could.
Targeted area is the Philadelphia metropolitan area, and I'm looking for HR roles, specifically HR business partner, HR consultant.
Okay. All right. So first thing, since you said Philadelphia, I was like, Philadelphia, I don't know Norristown. I don't know I barely know Pennsylvania, being in Michigan myself. So here's the first thing you're going to do, Katie. In your profile, in the top, right below your header, you're going to see this little gray pencil icon. You're going to click on that. And this is going to take you into the section. It says edit intro at the top. You're going to scroll down to the section that says location. And under the city drop down where it says Norristown, you're going to click on that. And you're going to choose, is it Philadelphia metro area probably for you? Is that the nearest?
Greater Philadelphia metropolitan.
Okay. So choose that instead. And I'll just use as an example, Fraser, Michigan is my hometown. Probably nobody on this call knows Fraser. Maybe if you live in Michigan, literally we are 4 square miles. Nobody knows Fraser. People know Detroit. So let's make it the broader geographic area, in addition to making it both more well-known to people, that aren't familiar with Pennsylvania and the individual cities. It also helps to broaden your search, because if you have a specific city on your profile, LinkedIn serves up search results based on the radius of that city. Okay. Norristown being the center. If you put greater Philadelphia area, then the radius of searches is going to broaden to the entire geographic area. So you're going to come up in more searches first and foremost. Okay. Now, what is your targeted job title again?
HR business partner, consultant.
Okay. Is consultant a priority over business partner, or is partner over consultant? What's your preference if you were to rank 1 and 2?
I guess HR business partner.
Okay. So what you just told me should be the way that it's showing in your headline. So put the first position the first position you're looking for in the first position. In my mind, consultant and business partner, I'm not in the HR field. Consultant sounds like you're a freelance person working on the side. Business partner, I think of somebody working inside the organization. And again, I'm not your target audience, so I could be misunderstanding that. But I want to think about the way that those are listed. That's your priority of what you're looking for. So the visual, the optics of that are important, but also, Katie, your headline follows you around on LinkedIn. So let me just show you this real quick. As you post, as you comment, a portion of your headline follows you around. And let me just show you as an example here. So it says Katie Kelly. This was 2 days ago. And only like the first 60 to 80 characters show. So it says HR consultant, HR business partner, coaching, change, ... Okay. Now, the full headline will help you to come up in more searches on LinkedIn. So I always advise people, fill in, and you give you like 220 characters. If it were me, I would use all 220 characters. And I would include at least 1 or 2 of my targeted job titles, which you have done. And then I would also include some other words and phrases that help to differentiate you from every other HR business partner and HR consultant that are out there.
Okay.
So you have used coaching, change management, compensation analysis. So I'm assuming in training, talent acquisition, compliance, I'm assuming these are areas of expertise that you offer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You may want to think about ending with, and this is optional, but ending with something that is non-career related, that is a personality element for you. So for example, 5K runner, dog mom, artwork aficionado, or something that's non-related to HR that makes you a real live human being that has thoughts and feelings and a personality.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm going to stop now, and I'm going to see if the others in the panel would like to offer you any additional advice. So Mindy, I'll start with you. Do you have any advice to offer Katie? I've been waiting the whole phone call for this. Wait a minute. I want her to do it, because look what I made, you guys. I have to show you this. I'm going to pull this up in large screenshot mode here. Can I put this in speaker view? Wait, Mindy, because I'm so proud of myself. I made this to hold up. Your lips are moving. Who's this Megan Trainor? All right. Sorry, I had to divert for a second. Mindy, do you have any advice for Katie?
So I have advice and a question for you also, Brenda. So I see that Katie is using these slashes between each of her areas in her headline. I generally use the pipe, right?
Yeah, I did have a question about that. I wasn't sure how to get the
I don't think it matters, honestly, Mindy. As long as she has a space between the words and the symbol, it's fine. LinkedIn is reading every separate word as a word. So slash is not really read as a word, so it doesn't really affect search results. Whether it's a slash or a pipe or an emoji or an asterisk, I don't think it really matters. Kenneth, would you agree with that? Do you have any insights to offer on that, the use of slash versus a pipe symbol in the headline? Kenneth Lang, did he leave? Kenneth? Oh, wait, I get to hold it up again. Hold on.
No, I don't think anyone really knows the true answer. One thing I would say, though, I scroll down, the about section is so resume-ish. You know, if you scroll down, Brendan, you look at the resume, the about section, it is such, if you can just, make that a little bit more enticing to get someone's attention, because I could pretty much figure that's almost a cut and paste from your resume.
Maybe even putting it in the first person. And Katie, think about if you're sitting across the table and Kenneth is hiring for an HR business consultant and you're introducing yourself, you wouldn't turn to him and say, experienced HR leader who operates strategically and tactically. You would say, I am an experienced HR leader who enjoys working with the team. I work strategically and tactically to build consensus. I have successfully led initiatives. So think about reading it out loud.
And think about what's in it for me. Think about what would that background do for me if I'm going to hire you. I'm going to take all that background, do A, B, C, and D for you. Again, it's a little bit of a twist, and it's sometimes hard for people to write about themselves that way, but I think it would make a difference.
Thank you.
Katie, I just want to answer your question. I think you said you weren't sure where to find the pipe.
Yeah.
It's right underneath the backspace button. You'll see a vertical line. Just you have
to okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You sound like a LinkedIn mystery.
And I strongly agree with Kenneth about the about section. The about section should be your personal story to whoever you want to be reading. And you don't know, there's over 800 million users of LinkedIn. You don't know who's reading your story at any particular time. So you want it to really talk about who you are and why you love what you do. What drives you to be in HR. And you and I have a similar HR background. So feel free to take a look at my profile if you like, and take a look at it. Might give you some hints, and actually, look at a lot of other HR professionals and see what they have, see what strikes you and strikes a chord with your unique story.
Thank you.
I'd add one more thing to Kenneth and Mindy's suggestions, and that would be if there are any sectors that you have worked in that you perhaps want to continue working in. Perhaps you've got experience in aviation and you want to stay in that field. That would be something else to include in your headline and also talk about in the about section.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, anything else? Any other advice for Katie before we move off? And it's 11:01, so I want to keep this moving along and start closing the call here. All right. If not, I'm going to pull us back up to gallery. Was that helpful for you, Katie, first of all?
Thank you so much, everybody. Yes.
Okay. And hey, it wasn't bad having a profile review. We didn't attack you. We didn't be like, oh my God, her profile is terrible. Get off of the call. Like, we're all here to help you. And going back to what I talked about in the beginning, we are a team. We are a community. We are here to make each other laugh and smile and to help to bring you up and to make sure that you are not feeling alone in this process. Because when you are in career transition, you may feel like you're floating out in the middle of the sea and nobody is there and nobody even knows you exist anymore. We know that you exist, and I know that you were on the phone call today. And I want to thank all of you for making the time to join us today. I want to thank Christopher for helping me to co-host in the beginning. I want to thank Jude, Kenneth, and Mindy for helping to facilitate Q&A with us. And by the way, if any of you have any links that you'd like to share for upcoming events, things you're working on, please drop them into chat before you leave right now. And that applies to anybody. If anybody has any job seeker resources, please drop them in the chat. Don't be shy about doing that. I want to thank the rest of you for making this a part of your Friday and for joining me. I noticed you. I saw you on the call. You are important. And I want you to remember that your value does not lie in having a position at a company and a job title and a paycheck. You are a valuable person. You take your expertise and your insights, your passion, what you have gained throughout your career, you take that with you wherever you go. They cannot take that from you. And I want you to remember that, because you may feel like your identity has been stripped from you when you're not working, but you carry all of that with you. And you are just simply in between successes right now. That's all you are. You're going to be landing someplace in the future. This is temporary. And then you're going to be moving on, and these Friday calls will be a memory for you. In the meantime, we are here for you every Friday from 10 to 11. Thank you for joining Jeffrey, Becky, Brad, Brian, Cindy, Lewis, Dean, Julia, Jeff ×2, Joan ×2, Katie, Lisa, Moss, Michelle, Nancy, Retha, Sandra, Valerie, Vic, and Wendy. Remember, guys, I believe in you. This is temporary. This too shall pass. In the meantime, we are here for you. I don't ever want you to feel alone. Always come and join us here on a Friday. And don't be shy about sharing success stories with us. Anything along the journey we want to hear about, and asking questions or in asking for a profile review. That's what we are here for. In the meantime, please be sure to connect with each other. If you are not already a part of our VIP job seeker group, please make sure that you're joining that. I'm going to drop that into chat right now for those of you who are on the call. And inside the group, you're also going to notice we have, gosh, we're coming up, I think we're like 720 members. So I would highly encourage you to connect with everyone who's a part of the group. And it's a great way of both growing your network with this wonderful VIP job seeking community, but also in finding resources and sharing resources back and forth, because you never know when you're going to come across that one person that's going to lead you to your next job. All right. I was a cheerleader in high school. Can you guys tell? I'm like getting everybody around. I am delighted to be here with you every week. I look forward to seeing you every Friday. And a reminder, once you have registered for this call once, it's the same link every Friday for the remainder of the year. In 2023, we'll have a new link. But in the meantime, every Friday, just come into the call. If you come a couple minutes early, by the way, I open up the Zoom about 10 minutes prior. So you can come in and do a little bit of pre-event networking. And then afterwards, like today, I'm going to keep the Zoom open until about 11:20. So if you'd like to stay on for additional networking, please feel